Please welcome back Hou Hsiao-hsien. Welcome back as well, Fang-Yi, and Vincent Chang is going to help us with translation. So I'll just start with a couple of questions. First, for Director Hou, if you could think about his films as sort of falling into two categories. A good number of them deal with contemporary society and contemporary Taiwan. Films like Goodbye South, Goodbye, Millennium Mambo, and he also makes there's another group of films that are historical, The Puppet Master and Flowers of Shanghai, and then this one. I'm wondering if he approaches them in fundamentally different ways, his contemporary versus his period films.
他说：“你之前拍的片子里面有两个类型，一个类型是比较有关当代的台湾的状况，像《南国再见南国》和像《千禧曼波》。那另外第二个类型的话，就是比较台湾，就是历史性的，像海上花，像之前的拍的一些片子跟台湾的历史都有关系。那你在对待处理当代的影片和处理这些所谓历史性的影片的话，处理方式有什么样的不同吗？还是？”
基本上是相同了。所谓相同，就是现代是比较简单，坦白讲，因为现在你就在你眼前，然后你看得非常清楚。那拍过去你就需要花一点时间啊。那这里整个 total 有一个我的一个原则，就是写实。我基本上一定要写实，只要不是写实我不知道该怎么做，所以我的电影基本上是从写实开始，就像我拍这个唐朝这个片子一样。我的资料就是从《资治通鉴》啊，很多这种资料，一个人物一段，或者是有一段描述这样子，把它整个那个范围把它做出来，在这个范围里面拍。
So it's actually basically same way that I'm treating them. And for the contemporary films, of course, they're simpler, and the reason is because they're right in front of you, and I don't really need to do a lot of research to somehow recreate that. Whereas for the period piece and historical films, then I definitely need to somehow do a lot more research. And for whether or not it's contemporary films or for the sort of period piece films, the one theme or the one principle that I have to adhere to, and I have been trying to adhere to, is this idea of realism. It has to be realistic. And for the Assassins, it's based on this particular novel from Tang Dynasty. And I actually went back to a lot of archival research and archival documents, including 资治通鉴, which is translation is comprehensive mirror to ed in government. And along with other historical texts that I really want to tease out the actual factual details, and then based on that to create the rest of the characters and the rest of the stories. And that's sort of what I have been doing throughout all my films.
I was wondering, perhaps you could expand a little bit on some of the research that was involved in The Assassin, the details of, specifically the details of trying to bring aspects of the Tang Dynasty to life.
能不能再深入的再讲一下，就是你做的这些研究方面呢，做调查，那在拍电影的时候，哪些很特别的细节是在做研究的时候去发现到，然后在这个影片里面也把它保留下来的？
具体基本上最重要的是一个范围，譬如说嘉诚公主在唐书里面只有一小段，几个字吧，一小段。嘉诚公主，她的皇帝，她是皇妹，就是她哥哥是皇兄哦，她哥哥就是皇帝，皇帝要她降嫁到魏博。降嫁到魏博有点像以前的和番，就是你嫁到匈奴去，它是有这种使命的哈。那降嫁魏博，然后在什么地方临剑是在什么地方？就是有告别的一个地方。然后呢，他就其中有一句话是很有趣，就是这个嘉诚公主嫌敌车 破壁，敌车是专门公主使用的礼车，嫌敌车破壁不成，不做。这个皇兄没办法就改以金根车，金根车是皇后的礼车，知道？而且这个唐书很好笑，就是从此嫁公主都改为金根车。那这个就很有意思，就是嘉诚公主的个性在这里你就看得非常清楚了。
So, for example, this particular character, Jiacheng Princess, and she's the one who's playing the instrument. So, in the Tang records and the book that I researched, and she is actually the sister of the emperor. So, in order for the imperial court to somehow make peace with the local provincial governor, because they were trying to secede from the imperial court with force, what they did is that they make her into a tributary bride. Pretty much is to marry her out so that as a peace offering. So within this particular text, that they actually depict this particular instance of when they trying to say goodbye to her and send her off, and the carriage that she was given, the princess actually refused to take this particular carriage, and then she insists on taking the carriage that actually reserved only for the queen. So I do think that this really give you some indication of the personality of this particular princess, that she was really bitter, she was really holding a lot of resentment and really want to somehow make a case of it that she's not happy about this particular decision being sent off and being married off as a peace offering. So this is one of the many details that I somehow use as a base, and then to set my boundaries or constraints or limitations, and within which then I can have full freedom to do what I really want to do with this film.
Since we have Fang-Yi here, I was hoping we could talk a little bit about your approach to working with the actors in this film. They're very physical performances, but also very, very minimal performances. There's not a lot of dialogue, but they're very physically expressive. And I know you're a trained dancer, so maybe you could say a little bit about that process as well.
那讲一下，就是在所有的肢体动作的方面，在这个虽然说的对话很少，但是很多东西就透过肢体来表达。那刚好许芳也是一个舞蹈家，也是一个编舞家。那是怎么样去在两个之间合作出这样子的一个动作，这样一个肢体语言？
我是问我，不是问他。
两个都问。
哦，两个都问哦，怪不得你要翻译。Fang-Yi，我们是怎么开始的？我都忘了。
How I didn't even remember how they would start our collaboration.
因为他是大家可能在纽约知道，他是非常有名的一个舞蹈家，非常有名。怎么认识的？我想不起来了。反正他是很厉害就对了。
She's a very, very famous dancer, not only in Taiwan, in the United States, but the world over. So.
然后呢，我找他来，基本上因为我讲他舞蹈那么好，他的动作一定非常好，所以就找他演师傅。
So since I realized that she's a dancer and a choreographer, and she knows how to move her body, that's why when I cast this particular character for the nun, and also the same, also for the Jiacheng princess, the one playing the instrument, I immediately thought of her.
所以呢，我拍完这个片子，决定就是以后再拍动作片，就找他当武术指导。
So after this film, I decided that maybe for future reference, I'm going to use her as my martial arts director.
而且他弹的那个叫什么？古琴。他弹的古琴是当场几天前呢？3天还是2天？
学3堂课。
他学3堂课，当教3堂，他在现场就弹呢，而且那个弹的是他现场自己弹琴的声音，你就知道他多厉害。
So the particular scenes of her playing the ancient instrument qing, actually she only took 3 lessons before that particular shoot, and then she actually improvised the whole score while she was shooting this particular film. Yes.
我也说中文。我的经验跟侯导认识是第一次是侯导监制了一个作品，这个作品是要把我放到5米水深里面去跳舞，所以他把我送去做自由潜水的训练。
So the first time actually working with Director Hou is for one of the projects that for this particular project I need to be somehow submerged 5 meters in the water to perform my choreography and my dance movements, and that's the first time we actually collaborated.
Yeah, that's the first time I learned to free diving.
Yeah, also yes, free diving, scuba
and,
diving. Yes.
I was really, really hard, and I said to him, I said never again. So this time, Director Hou come to me and say he would like to have me to be part of the movie, and the first time I say no to her. That was because I was running to my own production performance. So after 3 months, he came back to me again, and he said, "No, I really want you to be part of my movie." And that was after my production, my performance in Asia already. And then I said, "Okay, yes, I'll do it. So what would you like me to do? And do you want me to dance?" And he said, "No, no dance." "Do you want me to do some martial art?" "No martial art." "So what do you want me to do?" "Act." So I was like, so the first time experience and the first experience of the shooting, I was very nervous, and I asked him, "What should I do?" And he asked me, "What would you like to do?" I have to say, Director Hou is a master. I think he just he gave me the space to think and to learn, to have me to own the character, have me to be my own Jia Chen and the Jia Xing princess. So I have to just say thank you to my teacher, Director Hou. 谢谢。
I'm just going to ask one more question to Director Hou before opening it up. There are many sort of remarkable sort of visual ideas in the film, but there are just two things I wanted him to comment on that are very striking. One is the switch from black and white to color. Why is the prologue in black and white? And also that one scene where the frame expands, seemingly to accommodate the zither. Could you talk a little bit about those two?
那下一个问题是有关视觉上面的两点，第一个是从黑白到彩色，为什么会做这样的一个安排？第二个呢是在那个评比改变了，在弹琴的时候从4:3变到1.85，对，能不能讲一下为什么这样处理？
前面黑白，黑白是什么呢？黑白就是序场，序场的意思就是小说有时候小说前面会有一篇短短的介绍，它是点题啊，序场也是点题，它是叫楔子，木字旁一个契文，这就是契约的契，楔子。这个其实是形式，就是说你片子还没开始之前，我先告诉你这个故事大概的 point 是什么，你知道？所以我才会用前面那一段是用黑白的，然后过来才正式出现片名，正片开始这样。
So in terms of the black and white part is the prologue, and the way I saw it is just like the novels that you have your preface, and pretty much what you have in the Chinese tradition, you have something called 楔子, which is almost like a synopsis of the stories to come. So I'm using black and white to create this idea of the prologue, and then with the title of the film, and then when you went from the black and white to the colors, and that is the beginning of the film.
那他弹琴呢？因为你知道现在是数位的了， 没有人用底片的，但是我拍这个片子是用底片，拍了44万次。我最早拍片的时候，一部片才2万次，现在变成44万次。拍这个片，就是因为耗费非常多。但是我用底片拍，转成数位，这里面会发生一个状况，就是数位放映是 DCP。DCP 不是用拷贝，拷贝你要印出来，声音所有都在里面，它的变动性是很少的。既然是 DCP 了，我这画面可以任意改动。我这中间假使需要有一个画面是，只有一条这样，只有一条的，只有一条的也可以，只有这样横条也可以。为什么？因为它自由了，画面在呈现上它自由了。那许芳宜那个弹琴的会变成本来是1:1.33就 standard， 但是因为声片已经拍进去，所以变成1:1.41。那会变成弹琴那个会变成1:1.854，因为那个琴很长，所以我就为了保留这个琴的位置，所以用1:1.85。我本来的设想里面就是你可以任意转换在它的那个荧幕的比例，因为在 DCP 里面是统一的，你只要不超出这个荧幕的范围就可以了。你可以甚至中间是一圈的都可以。
So since most films are actually shot digitally, for this particular film, I did this film with film stocks, and I actually shot about 440,000 feet long of film stocks for this particular film, much longer than what I used to do. Well, probably around 20,000 feet. So definitely this is sort of technically that in order for me to somehow put together this film, I not only have shot in film stocks, I actually scanned the film stock into the DCP format. And since I have somehow transformed the film stock into the DCP, I no longer have the hard copy, I have the DCP copy. And what I can do is I can actually manipulate however I want to at will. And then for that particular transformation and the change of format really provide me enough freedoms in order to do a lot with how I'm going to do the aspect ratios. I can even do a vertical strip, I can do a horizontal strip, I can actually do a circle in the middle. So it's really provide me with a lot of freedoms. So in the beginning, you have the standards, of course, 1 to 1.33, and then extended to 1 to 1.43. And then later on, during the scene of the instrument, I then manipulate that into 1 to 1.85 for no other reason but to keep the composition of this particular old instrument since it's so long and I don't want to really break up the composition. So that's the reason why you see the change of aspect ratios from different parts of the film. And I really see this as the future, and then also especially for a film like this, is to have that freedom to change different aspect ratios and how you position your frame.
Okay, try to synthesize that. And question about, I think a comment about the relationship to sort of Chinese landscape painting, and a question about the relationship between action and contemplation.
他说在影片里面感觉上很少有这样的动作的片段，大部分都是像山水，像很诗意、很要去思考性这样的东西，没有很多事情发生，就是看就很美，拍得很棒。那是怎么样去把这两方面来做协调？就是在动作的部分和其他这些很长镜头的，这样可以让你深思熟虑，可以去细味品尝这个画面的这样子的程度的程度。
其实我当初拍这个，因为以我的习惯，就是你们看到的，就是一个镜头不动，或者是有轨道很长，然后呢，事情就这样一直在发生，我通常是使用这种，但是因为里面有打的动作我不可能这样，除非他们都是非常非常会打的，我就敢用这样，但是不太可能。这个舒淇跟那个他打的对象， 那跟师傅是比较快了，你知道，因为他武功比较厉害，你知道。但是一般是很难的，所以你变成是一定要切割镜头，这个是我的难处，这是没办法。我下次拍的话，一定也是一个镜头，但是你要找会打的，不然的话，你就要练很久很久。他们其实练了很长一段时间，但是你没办法整个他们记住，不可能。他们只能一段练熟了打，下一段再开始练打。最先开始打的时候，虽然练了打，还有很多问题，就像舒淇一样，舒淇他开始打的时候，我们拍了很长一段时间，我一直在注意的是他的脸，因为他没拍过武打片，所以他那个脸会这样，所以没办法，因为你要是武功很好，你根本退什么脸部是没表情的，一直清楚的盯着，你知道。所以我感觉那个也是调整好久，然后一直盯，一直改，所以这个是比较难的。假使下次我找个会打的，或者是我让他们练个2年，再来拍，可能就一个 take， 一直去这样，一直打，那就过瘾了。谢谢提醒，我下次会做到。
So, of course, all my films, as you can see, that I use a lot of long takes. Whether or not previously I used fixed cameras, and then later on you have those tracking shots, but also it's a one continuous long takes. Now, since we have action sequences and the martial arts sequence in this particular film, it will be impossible for me to use the exact same way, either one long take with the fixed camera or one long take with tracking shot. And reason for it is because the people involved, they are not professional martial artists. And there's no way they can, no matter how hard they train themselves in that amount of time that we do have, it's impossible to use this long take, one shot from beginning to end to somehow capture all the movements in extended sequence. So that's the reason why I actually need to break it up into small fragments, and I have to shoot one after another, and then that's also how I edit them and put it into separate shots. And I do think that for the people involved, of course, Fang-Yi is a great dancer, and she definitely got it faster than Shu-Qi, which is the Nian Yang's character. And but they still need to train very, very hard for each small fragment that I'm going to shoot, and then we do it take after take after take when we get it right. And then one of the aspects that I start to notice that since Shu-Qi especially, she's not a professional martial artist, when she hasn't been any martial art films in the past, so the way that she fights, she tends to have a very, very contorted facial expressions and some flinches that she will have. And to me, that somehow break the characters of this particular assassin that in my head, she should have been very, very calm and composed without any facial expression when she fights. So that's also another challenge for me to make sure that not only the movement is the right movements I want her to have, but also the right facial expression to go along with this particular character. But thank you for this particular question, because that just gave me an idea that if I'm going to make another martial art films, hopefully I'm going to train these either martial artists or actors and actresses longer, so maybe 2 years or longer. And hopefully I will have in the future a one long take with all the sequence that I want from beginning to end.
Great. I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.